times, and we'll get
That's a timely jersey right there. I see what you did there. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
First time he's worn it.
Yeah. All right, we'll start with Adam, and then Jimmy.
Tim, I'm just curious about the sort of the off-season review of the past season and what you guys want to carry forward in the new season. What's the film study like at this time of year, and what are the questions you're sort of asking your position coaches about what worked and what didn't work?
Yeah, honestly, we're really just deep diving into it. We kind of started Monday, I guess, really going back through our cut-ups. You try to evaluate, obviously, all the things you thought you did well, where are the liabilities, where do we need to get better at. And it's obviously, it was a lot of great things that went on. You don't win 11 games without, doing a lot of things right. But for us to continue to move the needle, there's some things we obviously got to get better at. So, we evaluate the personnel based on what we had last year. Now we start to look at the personnel we got in right now, and as we continue to dive deeper and deeper into it, we'll continue to talk about scheme and, how we want to adjust based on the personnel that we have coming back. So we're in the early stages of it. Right now, like I said, we're really just, looking at the big plays, the good and the bad. And, but the further we go into it, obviously we'll start talking scheme and how we can make some adjustments, based on our personnel.
Coach, I was in Philadelphia Eagles. They had set an NFL record for sacks or close to it, and they did it mainly with a four-man rush. How important is it for you to be able to get pressure on a quarterback with a four-man rush and making your defense efficient? Yeah,
I think it's everything. You've everywhere I've been, we've had great success at rushing for. To be quite honest with you, and the Eagles, obviously, I haven't seen a lot of NFL football this year, but you definitely have heard. So we would love to be able to do that. We think we've made some strides, but we also understand, there's a lot of work yet to be done. We feel like we're recruiting at a higher level, and we got some young guys that are coming in here that we hope will be able to help us transition to being able to be even more efficient with our four-man packages. And I think we will be, but to be able to do that and do it at a high level, it just makes everybody else's job that much easier.
Vince, then Austin.
Tim, looking at the guys on your roster in the secondary right now, almost everybody is above 6 feet tall. Is that a concerted effort for you to have length, not only in height, but arm length and everything that comes with that? Yeah,
it's football. Bigger is better, particularly when they can run and they're athletic. So, we have a model, that we work toward, and obviously we feel like we're starting to address some of those needs, and, it's starting to shape into what we're really looking for, so to speak, particularly in this league. The wideouts are so big, fast, and explosive. You want guys that are long and obviously can run. So, we're definitely getting bigger back there, and, hopefully that'll continue to, help us continue to grow back there as well.
It's that time of year where all these players are spending time with the strength coach and putting on weight and that type of thing. If you walk through the halls or been in some meeting rooms last week and a half where you're like, whoa, you look a little different than a month and a half ago.
Yeah, they're young and eager, and you see some of the freshmen who only been on campus a short time, but you can already see their bodies starting to change a little bit, and it's great. I mean, this is the time that you grow your program. I mean, you really do, and Coach Schmidt does a great job down there with his staff at putting our guys through their paces and building that mental toughness that you need to be successful along with their bodies. So. Yeah, I do see a lot of bodies starting to change, and even some of the guys that have been here that are a little bit older, just in terms of their body composition starting to change. Some of the bigger guys getting a little bit leaner, and then obviously some of the older guys that need to get a little bit more bulk. The year two for them, you can kind of start to see it a little bit.
Brent, then Ryan.
Tim, Coach Banks, I know that it's still a month and a half till the start of spring practice, but going into your third spring, it appears like you're going to be healthier than you have been in other springs. You're deeper. How different does this, even a month out, feel than maybe the last two off seasons have felt in terms of what your expectations are for spring?
Yeah, well, it's exciting. We had a bunch of guys, particularly in the back end, that were beat up, going through spring last year. Just didn't have them. They were beat up in the fall for the most part before camp started. So knowing that a lot of those guys will be able to participate is obviously a good thing because you invest. We talk about compound interest a lot, and obviously the more reps they can get, the better it is for them in the program. So knowing that those guys should be able to get the lion's share of the reps going in the spring, could only help the program. So we're excited about that. Do we have everybody ready to go? we don't know. But at this point, it seems on paper that, we'll have our lion's share of guys that will be able to contribute this spring.
Tim, first time we've spoken to you since Gabe Lally was added. What do you feel like you guys are getting in him, and just what went into the decision to go to the portal and get him back?
Yeah, excited about him. He's a guy who's played a lot of football, whether it be at, Vandy or BYU. And, the reality of it is, we know we have some steps that we need to make at a lot of positions, but, the cornerback position was one of those spots. And, with his experience, we think he can come in here and hopefully compete for one of these jobs and, help push these other guys to help these guys continue to grow. So it'll be a great, opportunity for him, but I think it'll also be a great opportunity for everybody involved, just getting those guys going. And, we all know, in this business, the more competition you have, the better it is for the program. And, he'll be another guy that'll create some great competition in that room.
Patrick and Jim.
Coach, sticking on the transfer team, Omar, Norman Lott, you guys brought, I think, a lot of people back on the defensive line. Adding him, what did you guys like about him?
Yeah, just, again, another guy who's been in the battles, is played at a high level. And, for us, we talk about our D-line being the tip of the spear. So, we just felt like he was a guy that we thought could, again, come in and contribute right away and, create an environment in that room that's highly competitive because, again, the better you are up front, as we talked about even, from a four-man pass rush or, just being stout against the run, we go as our front goes and, he'll just be another guy that'll give us an opportunity to continue to grow up there.
I know you said you haven't done a deep dive into this, but I want to ask you about your run defense. I think it ended up second in the SEC. What were the keys to that, and also how much do you think depth contributed to that?
Yeah, I think both things are true. It was obviously those guys did a tremendous job and, starting up front, with guys being able to control their gaps and, being, sound with our linebackers getting downhill, but, the DBs as well. Like I tell guys all the time, the safeties are involved, as is the corner. So it was a collective effort, philosophically, we wanted to do a great job that way and make sure we put guys in, predictable situations by eliminating the run game, and for the most part, we did a great job of that all season. So my hat's off to all of those guys. For us to continue to grow, though, we got to continue to get better at stopping the run, but, improving against the pass. That's just an area that we know we can improve on. And, we think obviously we'll be a lot healthier. We think that'll help. But as we talked about earlier, just being able to get home with four guys, was obviously, a situation that would help everybody, including the back end.
Adam?
You've been a coordinator in a number of different programs, a number of different conferences. How do you think you've changed, your philosophy has changed at Tennessee and in the SEC as opposed to before? And what's still a constant with you and your philosophy?
I think you're constantly evolving, and it's not just conference, it's personnel. What do you have? And then obviously as you start to look at the conference, what are you seeing? Who are the coordinators you're going against? So I think to be able to survive in this profession, you got to always be growing. You got to be ready to adapt, based on conference, based on scheme, and based on players. So that's always been my philosophy. But at the core of it, again, you have to be able to take something away, and for us, it's always started with the run game. We want to do a great job of stopping the run, and putting guys in predictable throwing situations. And, once you can dictate the terms, it usually bodes well for us. And that's really at the core of who I am.
Vince and Austin.
Ask you about a new incoming transfer. What'd you like about Keenan Peely from BYU?
Yeah, just, once again, he's played a lot of ball, but the leadership that he has, we had a chance to meet with him and communicate with him. Just an awesome guy, Obviously, we know he's a really good football player, but, just his leadership style and the way he carries himself. I think he'll be a really good resource for some of the younger backers in that room. And, he'll be someone that, they can, look to get some answers and, just kind of being a pro, so to speak. So, we're excited about him. Like I said, he's played a ton of ball, and played at a high level, but we're really excited about his leadership and how he'll help these young guys really develop and get better.
First time we've talked to you since Coach Halsley got promoted to OC. What is it you've seen out of Joey in your 2 years working with him here that impresses you?
Yeah, Joey does a great job. He's very consistent, with his approach. Obviously, we've had really good quarterback play here, since I've been here, and obviously Joey and I came in together. So, he's never too high, never too low. I think he's a guy that obviously has played the position, You know, he's a rock star. I think he'll do a tremendous job here. You know, I'm one of his biggest fans. You know, Coach Golish obviously did a tremendous job here, but, you know, we feel really good about, you know, the direction the offense is headed, you know, under his leadership. So, you know, just a smart, he's bright, you know, passionate, you know, and like I said, just the way he carries himself, you know, and the leadership style that he has, you know, you can see it in the way our quarterbacks perform week in and week out.
Great. Coach, I know you haven't done your deep dive yet over here. You haven't done your deep dive yet on kind of reviewing last year, but you had priorities going into last spring, cleaning up third down, improving on third down. What are 2 or 3 of your core things that you have on your mind that will be a priority for the overall picture of your defense this spring?
Yeah, I think it's, again, just being able to, you know, affect the quarterback with 4. You know, I think we talked about that a little bit earlier. And then I think also, you know, just being able to, you know, just really tighten up, you know, on the back end, you know, and it's not even just the back end, you know, linebackers are included in that thing, you know, making sure when we are in some zone principles that, you know, guys are where they need to be consistently, you know, because again, just like anything, you know, it was a lot of good things we did in the past game, you know, but for us to continue to grow, you know, we have to be able to affect the quarterback a little bit better, you know, particularly in some of our 4-man concepts, you know, and then we got to be able to hold up, you know, whether we're in man or zone, linebackers and DBs all included.
Last 2 questions, Ryan and Jim.
Tim, you obviously got a little bit of a look at a lot of those early enrollees that you already have on campus from the 23 class. Less than 2 weeks of practice, I know so far, but do you have any sense of what you have in those guys, and just having such an unusually high number of those guys, how much do you think that can help you guys maybe get a lot out of that class as freshmen?
Yeah, it's exciting because, again, you know, we haven't obviously worked with them a ton, but, you know, from the short time that we've had them, you know, those guys have been exactly what we want them to be, you know, very, very coachable. But the big thing I really like is how competitive these guys are. You know, they want to be good. You know, they understand that there's some opportunities here. They understand, you know, the standard that we established last season, and, you know, those guys want to be a part of it. And for us to continue to grow, you know, not just as a defense, but as a team, you know, we have to continue to be hungry, you know, and I think these young freshmen are super hungry. You know, they all want to get out there and prove themselves, and, you know, you can see it just in their actions, you know, how they're, you know, attacking the weight room at this point. You know, the few times that you do have a chance to meet with them, you know, just how eager they are to learn the playbook and, you know, learn things that they're going to give them an opportunity to get on the field. So it's exciting, you know, because, again, from linebackers to the front, you know, to the DBs, you know, all those guys are excellent competitors and, you know, are excited about getting out there and showing us what they can do.
There have been a number of offensive coordinator changes in the SEC. Do you study the new coordinator, or do you study the personnel that coordinator inherits? Both?
Yeah, to be honest, it's probably more schematically, you know, where they're coming from, you know, and then how much of a influence do you feel like the head coach has on what's going to be done, you know? So it kind of varies a little bit. You know, if the head coach is an offensive guy, you got to believe that they're not going to change much. You know, obviously, if it's a defensive guy, depending on where it is, you know, that offensive coordinator may have a little bit more to do with the scheme and, you know, how much they start to evolve. But will personnel play a factor? You know, I would think so. But overall, I think schematically, you try to look at what they've done at the previous places and, you know, try to prepare that way best you can.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate you.